I've been on Dr. Phil. I've been on the Today Show. I've been on Chris Cuomo with Micro. 500 podcasts. And literally, I've grown to have the biggest plumbing YouTube channel in the world. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm just a plumber.
Roger Wakefield didn't start YouTube with fancy gear, and he didn't start young, but he did start with a decision to stop waiting and instead hit record. Welcome to Brimming with Wisdom. I'm Doug Piper, and I'm here because we talk to Gen X and Boomers about reinvention growth, big ideas, and this season, award-winning YouTubers. Now, today I'm thrilled to be sipping an Italian roast coffee with none other than the amazing YouTuber, Roger Wakefield. Now, Roger, what have you got in your cup?
Doug, I actually drink the Tazo Zen green tea, and I drink it every day.
So Roger didn't start YouTube just for fun. He started because what he had been doing was not working. So Roger, you've said success started not with gear, but actually making a decision. So what was that decision, and how did it actually unlock your future?
I think the decision is it's one that we're all faced with. When is it time to hire a coach, a consultant, a trainer? We had been doing YouTube for 6 or 8 months, and we just weren't growing. So we were very consistent. We did 3 videos a week. We started with that, but our channel still wasn't growing. So we went to a conference, and we had a guy do a channel review, an audit for us. And he looked at our channel and he said, after reviewing it, he said, you know, I live right down the road from y'all. You could hire me and I could coach y'all, or y'all can call me and I'll consult with you. But hiring a coach and a consultant, having people look at what we were doing. If we don't know what we're doing and we just keep doing it every day, we don't know if we're getting better or not. Hiring someone who knew what they were doing was a complete game changer for me. And that literally changed the way our channel was growing. And it did it immediately, Doug.
No kidding. Immediately?
It literally, yeah, because we started looking at what we were trying to do or what we weren't doing right. And we started doing those things, and we could see it starting to get better immediately. It really did.
So you could see one of those curves.
Oh, yeah. I really did.
I love that. So deciding to start was one thing for you, but knowing who your audience is, now that's the real game changer. So some YouTubers start by videoing absolutely everything, but Roger didn't. He listened, focused, and built trust instead. Now, Roger, how did you narrow that down? How did you find that niche? And what made you confident that you'd really nailed it?
I think what helped me in the beginning is we knew that we were going to make videos teaching people how to fix their own plumbing. Now, Doug, I did this to grow my YouTube channel, but also to grow my business. And by growing my business, I thought if we can teach people that we do things right, we do it right every time, and we know what we're talking about, that would help make our phones ring. So we literally came in and started shooting 3 videos a week, teaching people how to fix their own plumbing, hoping and understanding that whenever they got into something that they couldn't do, if they were in my area, they would see me as the professional, as a trusted advisor, someone that knew what they were talking about, and they would eventually call us. And believe it or not, it really did start working.
So you developed that trust. And what was the key ingredient for that trust, do you think?
I think when you explain things in a way they can understand it. I could use plumbing terminology, but they may not get that. But when I use words that they can understand, so many people were reaching out to me and say, Roger, not only did you teach me to fix this, you didn't make me feel stupid while you did it. So I think if you can communicate with people that way, you build a relationship. And you talk about trust. You know, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. Well, I've always changed that. It's know, love, trust, and connected to. And YouTube can connect you to everybody.
Oh, wow. So how did you get that feedback that you actually felt like you were developing trust? What was your metric?
Well, every time you make videos, people leave comments. If you're not reading your comments, you're not treating your audience right. You're not treating your community the way they deserve to be treated. When you make a video, you go in, you read the comments, you reply to as many comments as you can. In the beginning, we were replying to every comment that came in. Now, we can't do that now because we probably get 2,000 or 3,000 comments a day. So we reply to the ones that, when I see them go off on my phone, if it's something that I'm like, man, they need an answer and they need it now, I'll stop whatever I'm doing and give them a reply right then.
It reminds me, somebody told me, if my toilet's leaking, I need it fixed now.
Mm-hmm. Think about it. One of our top videos, how to fix a running toilet guaranteed. You're telling people, look, I'm going to teach you how to fix that toilet and I'm guaranteeing it. It works.
And so the metric is, do you see like positive comments coming back saying, that was the trick I needed. Thank you.
I see comments like that, but also see comments from plumbers saying, dude, you're taking money out of our pockets. You're showing people how to fix their own stuff. Okay, what's wrong with that?
Wow. I never thought of that side of it. I mean, do you get a lot of pressure like that from your peers?
Oh, I've got some amazing messages from other plumbers.
And there's a positive spin to that. I would think you call it something else.
I got broad shoulders. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
As long as I'm helping people. I mean, Doug, I could tell you about comments that I've got where people tell me, thank you for giving me hot water back. I haven't had hot water for 6 months. So when you go through and you read comments and you listen to people's stories, look, I understand every day that what I'm doing is affecting people and helping people. Now, we started out our channel teaching people to fix their own plumbing. Then it changed. We realized we had more tradespeople watching us, more plumbers. So we started teaching them how to be better plumbers, how to make more money. Then we realized it's not just plumbers, it's electricians, HVAC techs, roofers, chiropractors, dentists. So then we started changing it to help everybody learn how to do what we do better.
Wow. Now that's broadening things out. And it's interesting because you got into this very narrow niche and then you slowly broadened out. But I guess what I want to go back to is those comments, because to me, that's might be energizing. How did you relate to those comments, the positive ones that came back that, you helped me get hot water?
When you read that entire story, you can't walk away from it without tears in your eyes. And when you understand that what you're doing is having such an impact on the world. I'm a plumber. I'm a plumber in Richardson, Texas. When I can have an impact on somebody's life and they take the time to send me a message telling me how I gave them back hot water, how they haven't had it for months. They didn't even have water for months before that. But by watching my video, they understood that there was a problem there that they could fix. And they reached out to the water heater manufacturer, got the right part in, installed it themselves, and then took the time to come back and leave me a message telling me, thank you for hot water. That touches people's lives.
And I like that, because once you start finding your lane, you start seeing results. And sometimes those early results are really what keep us going, isn't it?
The early results I didn't depend a lot on, because in the beginning I wasn't getting many views. I wasn't getting many comments. But the comments that did come in, we were replying to. If you make a post or make a video and you don't reply to any comments, I call it posting and ghosting. You're putting something out, but you don't care about your people because you're not listening to what they say. If you don't go in and read the comments, look at the comments, reply to the comments, it's all about you.
And it really should be all about your audience. Is that right?
It should be about every viewer that watches a video.
Well, Roger's channel didn't just explode because of luck. It grew because he experimented with his videos and he watched for them to resonate. So, Roger, when did you first realize your channel was actually working? Was it a specific video or was it a strategy? I want to know what that secret was that made all the difference.
Well, we had taken some other videos. We loved reacting to other people's videos. And when people, and I still do it to this day, but when people put out videos and they're talking about plumbing or plumbers, or they're doing plumbing or something like that, I don't mind watching their video and saying, hey, look, here's what they did right. Here's what they did wrong. And one of the videos that we did, it was by 5 Minute Crafts. And I think I called the video 5 Minute Hacks, because they're showing you all these different plumbing hacks that really didn't work. So I went through and replayed or redid everything that they did and showed why it worked or why it didn't work normally, but then I showed them the right way to fix it. So that video there, it didn't take off immediately. It actually took it, I think, about 6 months. But then once it did take off, I was literally getting 1,000 subscribers an hour at some points. So when it did take off, it took off really, really hard.
Is that a gray area when you are reviewing somebody else's video? How do you keep from violating YouTube's terms and conditions?
Well, there's fair use. I mean, you're allowed to use anything out there. You've just got to make sure that you're not just replaying the video. You're going through taking sections and you're using it as teachable moments. You could literally play an entire song or read an entire book on YouTube if you go through and talk about why you're doing it, what people should take away from it, whatever it is. Fair use gives us the ability to use anything out there.
Oh, that's a great tip. And so have you ever run afoul of YouTube where you did that and either that YouTuber contacted you or YouTube themselves challenged you?
The only thing that I've done is I've taken one video down in almost just over 7 years now. And there was a plumber in Australia who was being shown on the news in a poor way, saying he messed over some customers. And my problem was the guy didn't get out of his car. He didn't do a lot of things. And a lot of people in the United States reached out and said, Roger, look, he really is a nice guy. I don't think you know the whole story. And we ended up deciding to take it down. But then about 2 years later, he reached out to me and he's like, look, I demand that you apologize publicly and you do this and you do this and you do this. And I said, sir, look, number one, I've already taken the video down. You keep talking to me like that, I'll put it right back up because I don't care. And I don't like being told what to do. So one more comment like this, and this was actually on social media that he did it. And I replied, one more comment, and I will put that video back up today because it's cost me money to take it down because I was making good money on it. Yeah. And, never heard a word from him again. So I hadn't put it back up yet.
Okay. So no direct issues with YouTube.
No, YouTube wants people to watch videos. And if I'm pointing out what's good or bad about something being done, YouTube's all behind it.
Well, that's actually a perfect segue because when we're talking over 40s, and I qualify for that. I don't know if you do or not, but I think you do. We see things that young people put up that we go, oh, God, I hate for them to learn that the hard way. So you're saying as long as we're constructive and we add to their video in such a way that I guess we're adding enough content to make it different, that we're just not re-recording, that is one technique for growing your channel, a reaction video.
Well, it's a great one. It's, nobody just wants people just to say everything in the world's perfect. If it's not perfect, have broad enough shoulders to call it out. If I've literally thrown companies under the bus because they're pitching a horrible product, or and then after they wanted to talk bad about me because I said it was horrible, I went and did research. None of them are even licensed. They've got plumbing companies in multiple states. They don't have any legal licenses. And I'm like, you know what? If you're going to talk bad about people, have all your ducks in a row, because I keep my licenses current each and every year. I do my continuing education. I try to help the state board as much as I can. I try to help homeowners as much as I can. And I don't sell crazy products. I mean, they're out there pitching products that will actually damage people's plumbing system. They're talking about how good it is, and I called it out. And we built an assembly to test it out in the shop, and it was a horrible product, and I called people out on it.
I think we've all bought some of those. You're making me think on some of my plumbing experiments of stuff I bought from the big box stores, and boy, they can have some real junk.
And there's stuff at the big box stores, I hate to say it, that they shouldn't be selling.
Yeah, I think this item, I ended up taking it back. But what I love about your angle, and I wouldn't put up a plumbing video, but there may be someone in the audience who will, or they have experience with other tech or, I don't know, cooking things. So you're saying essentially if you buy something from Amazon, you're not happy with it, it's okay to make a video and say, I bought this thing and it did not live up to its expectations, and you're not under any risk. Matter of fact, you might grow your channel.
Well, I mean, I think you should grow your channel. If people see that you're being real, you're being honest, you're sincere about it, if you're making it for a good reason, hey guys, look, I'm making this video so you don't put something like this in your plumbing system. Not, hey guys, look, these people are just stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. It wasn't done that way. It was, guys, look, I tested this product. This product's horrible. Well, the manufacturer keeps replying to my videos. They go in and leave comments, and they're always like, hey, thank you for supporting our product. It's like, look, I don't support your product. Your product's horrible. And they're like, well, remember back when you wanted to be a rep for us? I said, no. I asked y'all to send me the product. I wanted to try the product. Y'all never sent it. So, it's funny how they word things. And my thing is, Doug, if they keep talking, I'll make another video because their product is horrible.
And there's minimal risk. I don't want to say there's no risk, but you haven't experienced anything other than hard conversations.
Oh, I've had people threaten to kill me. I've had people threaten to come burn my studios down. I told you, I got broad shoulders. I'm good. But, I like what you talked about in the beginning is age. So when I first learned what YouTube was, what it really was, I was 54 years old.
Yeah.
And it's funny because almost every podcast that I get on that they talk about YouTube or how to grow YouTube or how to do YouTube or things like that, it always comes around and they're like, man, look, I don't mean this bad, but you're not young. It's like, no, I'm not. And from the time 54 years old, I'm 61 now.
Yeah.
And literally, I've grown to have the biggest plumbing YouTube channel in the world. Anybody can do this. I'm not a techie person. I never thought I'd be in front of a camera. If you'd have told me when I walked into a social media marketing conference, I would be in front of the camera every day doing what I'm doing, I'd have said, you're nuts. That's not me.
Well, I got to know what your answer was when they said, you're pretty old.
It doesn't bother me. I don't disagree. In social media years, I think I'm 195 or something. It doesn't make sense that I'm here. I get it.
Yeah.
But if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm just a plumber. There's nothing sexy, nothing exciting, nothing gorgeous about it. I'm just a plumber. But I'm teaching people how to fix their own plumbing. I'm teaching people how to get in the trades. I'm teaching plumbers how to be better, teaching them how to start their own businesses. I'm teaching them how to use networking and social media and SEO to grow. I'm not doing anything that anybody else can't talk about.
Well, that's the kind of clarity that I need. So what about you? Have you posted something that, absolutely just set your channel off like Roger did? If so, I want to hear you put it there in the comments. I'd love to know what worked or what didn't work. Was there something you experimented with that didn't? So Roger, coming up next, here's the part that I didn't expect, how our age can actually be our superpower on YouTube. So Roger didn't just survive on YouTube after starting late. He found out his age was his greatest edge. So Roger, what surprised you the most about starting YouTube later in life, and what were the strengths that you discovered along the way?
I think that what really surprised me is my strong work ethic just rolled over into YouTube. I tell people all the time, look, I'm a plumber. I use tools every day. Once I started doing YouTube, I just learned this is new tools. It's new tools to work with. It's cameras, it's microphones, it's lights, it's software. As a plumber, when somebody hands you a new tool, you learn how to use it. You learn how to make it work for you. And that's what I started doing on YouTube. Being the age I was, I've got a good, strong work ethic. I show up every day. I come in prepared. I'm ready to go. And I think that you've got to do that in social media too. You've got to understand it's not just jumping in front of the camera saying, hey, I'm here, watch my video. You've got to bring value to people. And every time that I show up, I look at the camera, I think of one of my best friends, and I talk to them. And if people will learn to do that, they're not just here to teach, they're not just here to sell, they're here to relate. They're here to connect with people. And YouTube, to me, has become the greatest connector. Being 54 at the time that I learned it, now don't get me wrong, I brought in my stepson and had him help me, had him figure out the tech part, which was great. I still don't know how to edit. I can turn on a camera. I can do different things. But at the end of the day, I step in front of the camera and try to help people. So when I look at that camera, when I look in the lens, I feel like I'm looking someone straight in their eyes. When I talk to them, I say the word you, because I'm only talking to that one person. And I always talk to them like they're my best friend. Because if I can treat everybody like they're my best friend, they're going to feel more comfortable. They're going to relax a little bit, and they're going to understand that I really am just here to help them.
It's that authenticity that approach has and builds. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's got a lot to do with it. Yeah.
Well, I love that, because once you stop doubting yourself and can start seeing tools for what they just are, they're just tools. But I think YouTube is one of the best tools around. So Roger says YouTube isn't a mystery. It's actually a skill, and anyone can learn it. So Roger, you've called content, and I'll call it AKA YouTube, the new trade skill. So why is YouTube so important, and how can it be treated like a tool and not an essential talent to be successful?
Well, I think the fact that it is a tool. This is how I get in front of people every day. We've had months where I'm generating 10 million views a month. Think about that. 10 million views a month. I started a YouTube channel as a plumber 7 years ago. We just went over 125 million views. We've got 660,000 followers. And we do this by communicating with them, by talking to them, by building that know, love, trust, and connected to factor. And I think that a lot of people, Doug, when they start out, that they're like, look, I can't get in front of the camera. I'm afraid of a camera. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And number one, I don't script things unless there's certain things that I need to say for a certain reason, a sponsored video or something like that. But when I talk to the camera, I'm really talking to my best friend. So I always look the camera dead center of the lens, because that's looking at the person watching the video. And I always say the word you, because I want them to understand I'm talking to them, nobody else. If I say any of y'all can do this, somebody in their mind just heard me say that and they thought, well, he doesn't know me. I can't do this. I just gave them a way out. But if I say, look, you can do this, and I talk to them like they're my best friend, it works. They see it. They feel it. They believe it. I have built connections with people. I've literally gone in trade shows. And it's really funny because I love traveling around the country. I love going to trade shows, which before I started social media, I never did. But I go into trade shows, and I've had grown men come up to me with tears in their eyes, hugging me, saying, look, you taught me a trade. You taught me how to make more money than I ever have.
Whoa.
And when you see people like that, and they tell you, look, I was working in a restaurant. Now I'm running a plumbing truck. Or, hey, I was running a plumbing truck, and you taught me, look, I can open my own business. And you taught me the things to do. It works. And it literally goes back to that simple thing of, and I did this with a lady. She was in a networking group with me, and she looked at me one day. She said, Roger, I could never make videos like you. I said, how come? She said, I'm afraid of the camera. I said, well, it's not a camera. It's your friend. And she says, what do you mean? I said, you see that lens? That's the eyeball. When you talk to that camera, you look that camera dead center of the eyeball. Just like you would a friend. If you're talking to them, you're going to look them in the eyes. And say the word you. Because when you're talking to that camera, you're talking to the one person watching that video. You're not talking to everybody. One person at a time is watching it. And that's who you're talking to. And treat them like they're your best friend. Because believe it or not, they are. They have a relationship with you. They are sitting down either on their phone, on their iPad, in front of a TV. They're sitting down, giving you time out of their life. Treat them like they're your best friend. Say the word you, look them dead center in the eye, and always bring value. And if you'll do that, anybody can make this a wonderful tool to use.
I love how you've focused on the word you. I've had to take courses to get as far as I have, which is not near as good as you have done, but I'm trying. But I've never heard the importance of choosing the words that you address your audience with. And you said the word you. Is there another word or two? Because I think this is a top tip.
If you're using any other word, you're using plurals, you're using things like that, you just took away from it.
The other thing I heard that I thought was really important, you were talking about not being afraid of being on camera, and that it was as essential as many of the other tools. It almost made me think you know, what if we said we couldn't do email or we couldn't do texts? And if we weren't willing to do those, we're going to leave out connections with a whole host of people. And so by not being willing to do YouTube, it's kind of like saying, well, I don't like text or I don't like email, and just ignoring all those people who want to hear your emails or read your emails or your texts. Do you agree with that?
I do. And Doug, think about this. And to me, not doing YouTube is even worse. The people that are watching my video are searching for what they're watching. Now, it may have got recommended. They may have found it on Browse, but something about it made them stop and choose to watch it. Nobody chooses to sit and watch the Super Bowl watch the commercials unless it's Super Bowl. I get that. So you've got a better chance at Super Bowl of them watching your video. But even when it's time to go to the restroom, they go during the commercials. When sponsors come to me, I'm talking to their audience. Their audience is seeking me out, asking me about work boots or insurance or what's the best water heater to buy or what are the best tools to own or what is the best best practice group to get in. I get these questions every day. So when sponsors come to me, I can put them directly in front of their audience, the viewer that is searching for what they're selling. When you make your videos right, you do your thumbnails right, you do your titles right, you do your description right, you know what your channel's about, and you never deviate from that, these people coming are looking for the videos you're making. And that's what makes it work.
I want to go back to the camera a little bit, just briefly. But when you're shooting a video that you're making yourself, it's not sponsored, it is totally yours, it's the content you want to create. And I want to know, because you said you didn't do the editing, just how typically or how regularly do you end up with retakes?
I don't. I don't. I mean, I may have to say something again because I said the wrong word, paused at the wrong time, and it didn't make sense. But so far, we've been going for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Is there anything here you're like, oh, we got to cut that? He didn't say that right. He didn't do that right.
No, it's all great stuff. I'm gonna watch it again.
I understand what I'm talking about. And when I make a video, that's why I don't like scripting as much. I love having bullet points where I can just say, okay, in today's video, we're going to talk about this. Bullet point 1, let's talk about it. Bullet point 2, let's talk about it. Bullet point 3, let's talk about it. And I just let it go.
So I want to know when you would retake it. When you were looking through the video, what would it take you to say, oh, God, I just got to redo that? What would it take?
It'd have to be just bad audio. Say I hit a button and turn the mic down or something. I mean, we don't reshoot. If I mess up, I mess up. It's okay to let people know, look, I'm human. I don't do everything right every day. I mess up a lot. We actually spilled hot lead on a propane tank while we were doing a lead and oakum joint. Scared the mess out of me. And my team's like, man, we'll cut that out. I'm like, no, look, I messed up. Let them see it. And they're like, really? It's like, I make mistakes, guys, just like everybody else does. Don't worry about it.
But don't you get comments that just you cringe at because you go, oh, that was stupid.
You know what? If it doesn't matter if you're leaving me a good comment or a bad comment, YouTube says, wow, they're commenting on his videos. Doesn't bother me.
I had someone tell me they made a mistake. They were actually doing an area and they were using Google Earth to do it. And they totally forgot the slope. But they went through it like this was the answer. They had one of the best responses to the video ever because everybody jumped on the mistake. It was totally unintentional, but he said, I'm not sure I wouldn't do it again. So the mistakes might be positives, what I'm hearing.
We've kind of accidentally on purposely made mistakes or left something out just to see if anybody sees it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
Oh, we get a ton of comments about it.
And is that bad for your channel?
No, it's great for your channel. If people are engaging, even if people give you thumbs down, okay, you know what YouTube says? Hey, somebody engaged. So thank you for the negative comments. Thank you for the thumbs down. It really doesn't bother me.
Your bouncer days are showing.
You know, I've got thick skin. I've got broad shoulders. I can handle it. It doesn't bother me at all.
Okay. Well, clearly this is not about being perfect. I think it's all about showing up. And if you've been waiting to show up, this last question coming up might just be for you. So if you've been stuck in YouTube what if mode, Roger just might share the insights you've been waiting for. So Roger, if someone's been inspired by this and still hasn't hit record, you know, they just hadn't pushed it, what would you say to help them get started?
You know, Doug, and that's a good question, because literally my business was struggling. I had something pushing me. I had hired marketing companies that actually made my phone stop ringing. And I tell people, imagine driving on the road and throwing $47,000 cash out the window, knowing when you get to your office, the phones aren't ringing. And literally that's where I was. So what I would tell people is, look, jump into YouTube like your life depends on it, because it can be such a game changer for you. I mean, since I've done YouTube, I've been on Dr. Phil. I've been on the Today Show. I've been on Chris Cuomo with Micro. I've probably done 500 podcasts. I've probably done, I think that we're approaching 2,000 videos on our YouTube channel. I go live every day. I do so many different things, and I have so many amazing opportunities that come every single day. And if I hadn't hit that button, I'd still be a good plumber. I'd still have a plumbing company. It may be struggling. It may have closed by now. But learning to use social media, to get out in front of people, to put myself, raw and unfiltered as I am, out in front of people and say, look, guys, this is what you get. There's somebody out there that needs to hear your story. We've all got a different story. My story is not the same as yours. And the one thing you don't want to do is try to be somebody else. I never wanted to be somebody else. The first conference that I spoke at was VidCon. LinkedIn had reached out and said, hey, will you speak at this conference? I said, sure. And I'm on a panel, and we said that we'd hang around and shake hands, answer questions, and take pictures and all that. And I noticed that there was this guy in my line, and he kept letting everybody ahead of him. And he's the last one. He finally comes up, and he says, Roger, I don't know if you remember me. I said, yes, sir. We talked 2 days ago in the hall upstairs. I don't know if it's about a toilet now or a water heater. I said, but we talked about your plumbing. And he says, yeah. He says, I've talked to you upstairs. I've watched your videos, and now I've heard you speak on stage. He said, you're the exact same person everywhere. And I just started laughing so hard. And I thought, oh my God, I cannot even imagine trying to be anybody else. I don't want to act like anybody else. I just want to be me, because it's so easy for me to do. If you're out there watching right now and you're thinking, I've always wanted to, but there's someone there that needs to hear your story. There's someone there that needed to hear mine. And the more we told it, the more we realized I've got more stories to tell. And most of us do. So if you're thinking about it, don't wait. Go ahead and get started now. You'll be glad you did in the long run, I promise.
Now, that's the kind of actionable advice I really like. But we really don't need to wait for permission from YouTube. I think we just need to start. Well, Roger, I can't thank you enough. That was unbelievably helpful. I had the word incredibly, but it's really unbelievable in my mind. So thank you so much. Now, I was very fortunate to spend this much time with you. Where's the best place for people to find you that maybe they can spend a few minutes with you or read your stuff, or most importantly, maybe catch your YouTube videos? Where can they learn more?
Doug, it's great, because anytime people ask that, especially if they're not on YouTube a lot or they've never found me on YouTube, I always tell them to go to YouTube, search the word plumbing. Scroll down. You're going to see the mustache. And we teach people how to do that now. So if you've got anybody that we made a webinar that debunks 3 big myths as to people that I hear all the time as to why they can't do YouTube. And if anybody'd like to go watch that webinar, they can go to justmetroger.com and watch it. And then if you want to connect with me directly, LinkedIn is the place to go. That's the one that I pretty much do myself. So YouTube, LinkedIn, and then justmetroger.com. And that'll pretty much help you get going on YouTube, or let me answer some questions for you either way.
Awesome. And I've watched that video. So I suggest you have a pencil and a piece of paper when you watch the video Roger's talking about, because it is just full. I mean, if you like these tips, this is even better. So that is great. So thank you, Roger. And if this gave you clarity, or even maybe a little nudge to get you going, I want to know about it in the comments, and I want to know what else could help you. And hit the subscribe while you're there, because coming up, we've got even more Brimming with Wisdom interviews coming with more amazing creators just like Roger. They're all proving that it's never too late to build something amazing. And remember, you're not late. You're ready for YouTube. Cheers, Roger.
Thank you, Doug.